I attended my ex's wedding, then I got a message, don't let her say I do. The crisp white shirt felt like a straitjacket, the air in the church thick with the scent of lilies and nervous excitement. I watched her walk down the aisle, a vision in ivory lace, her smile radiant, almost blinding. Sarah, my ex, my first love, and today, she was marrying someone else. My name's Daniel Hayes, and I'm 32 now, but at that moment, standing in the back pew of St. Michael's, my heart felt like it was ripping in two. I was there, a courtesy invitation I probably shouldn't have accepted, a silent mourner at the wedding of the woman I still, stupidly, loved. And then, my phone buzzed. A message, from an unknown number. Don't let her say I do. Sarah, 31, and I had been together since college. 6 years. We'd planned a future, a small house with a big garden, 2 kids, a dog named Buster. We broke up a year ago, not with a bang, but a slow, painful fade. We just grew apart, or so we told ourselves. Different career paths, different cities. It was amicable, or as amicable as a breakup can be when you still feel like half of yourself is missing. She moved on quickly. He was Mark Peterson, 33, a successful real estate developer, charming, handsome, everything I wasn't, or at least, everything I wasn't anymore. He was the kind of man who filled a room, while I, a quiet librarian, preferred the hushed aisles of books. My best friend, Liam O'Connell, 32, a pragmatic software engineer, had tried to talk me out of coming. It'll just hurt, man, he'd said, offering a sympathetic pat on the back. My sister, Chloe Hayes, 34, had agreed. But I felt compelled to be there, a perverse need for closure, or perhaps, a masochistic desire to witness the final nail in the coffin of our relationship. The ceremony was beginning, the organ music swelled, the light streamed through the stained glass windows, illuminating dust motes dancing in the air. Mark stood at the altar, beaming, clearly besotted. Sarah, radiant and ethereal, reached him, and they clasped hands. My stomach churned. This was it, the point of no return. Then the buzz. My phone, tucked away in my pocket, vibrated insistently. I almost ignored it. Who would be texting me during a wedding? I glanced down, just a quick peek. Unknown number, and the message. Don't let her say I do. My mind reeled. What was this? A prank, a cruel joke, or something else entirely? The words felt urgent, a desperate plea. My eyes darted around the church, searching for anyone who looked suspicious, anyone who might have sent it. I saw only smiling faces, tearful relatives, and the proud parents of the bride and groom. Sarah's mom, Eleanor Davis, 60, dabbed at her eyes with a lace handkerchief. Her father, Robert Davis, 62, looked on proudly. Mark's parents, Martha and Thomas Peterson, both in their late 50s, beamed. The priest began to speak, his voice sonorous, filling the sacred space. My heart hammered against my ribs, a frantic drumbeat. Don't let her say I do. The message replayed in my head, an insistent whisper. But why? What did it mean? I thought back to our breakup. It was messy, yes, but not acrimonious. No huge fights, no dramatic revelations. Just a drifting apart. Could there be something I didn't know? Something hidden? The thought was absurd. Sarah was an open book, honest to a fault. Or so I believed. I felt a surge of panic. This wasn't some casual text. This was a direct, imperative command. But what could I do? Interrupt the wedding, shout something, accuse Mark, accuse Sarah, on what grounds? A cryptic, anonymous text. I would look like a madman, a jealous ex unable to move on. It would be a spectacle, a public humiliation. For them, and for me. My hands felt clammy, my breath came in ragged gasps. I needed to think, but my mind was a chaotic mess of fear and confusion. The priest's words continued, leading them closer to the vows. Do you, Sarah Eleanor Davis, take this man, Mark Andrew Peterson? I had to do something. Anything. I frantically typed a reply to the unknown number. Why? No immediate response. The priest was asking Mark the same question. Mark's, I do, resonated through the church, clear and confident. My blood ran cold. Sarah was next. Then, my phone buzzed again. Another message, from the same number. He's not who he seems. He ruined everything. Check the old ledger. Library Archives. Section B. Shelf 3. The old ledger. Library Archives. Section B. Shelf 3. My library. The municipal archives, where I worked. A jolt went through me. This wasn't a random prank. This person knew me, knew my workplace, and they knew about a specific, obscure archival ledger. My librarian instincts kicked in, overriding the panic. The old ledgers were full of local history, financial records, property deeds. What could be in there that related to Mark? And why would it stop Sarah from saying, I do? My eyes flicked to Sarah. She was about to speak. Her mouth was open, a soft smile on her lips. I had seconds. My mind raced, trying to connect the dots. Mark, real estate developer. Old ledgers, property deeds. Could Mark be involved in something illegal? Something that would directly impact Sarah? I had no time to get to the library. No time to verify, but the urgency of the messages, the specificity of the clue, it felt real. It felt like a warning, a desperate plea from someone who knew a terrible truth. Don't let her say I do. The words screamed in my head. I acted on instinct, on a desperate, illogical surge of adrenaline. I pushed past the people in the pew, muttering apologies, my eyes fixed on Sarah. I moved quickly, ignoring the confused glances, the murmurs of, what's he doing? I reached the aisle. The priest paused, his brow furrowed, as he saw me approaching, disheveled, wild-eyed. Sarah looked at me, her smile fading, replaced by a look of confusion, then alarm. Mark's eyes narrowed, a flicker of anger in them. Sarah, I blurted out, my voice raw, breaking the sacred silence of the church. Don't. Everyone turned to look at me. The entire church went silent. A gasp rippled through the congregation. My parents looked horrified. Liam, in the third row, looked like he was about to faint. Sarah stared at me, her eyes wide. Daniel, what are you doing? She whispered, her voice barely audible. He's not who you think he is, Sarah. I yelled, my voice cracking. Check the old ledger. Library archives. Section B. Shelf 3. Chaos erupted. People started whispering loudly, some gasping, some openly glaring at me. Mark, his face contorted in a mask of rage, started towards me. Get out, he roared. The priest, a kind, elderly man, tried to intervene. Mr. Hayes, please, this is highly inappropriate. But I ignored him. My eyes were fixed on Sarah. He's ruined everything, I repeated, remembering the last message. Please, Sarah, just check the ledger. Security, 2 burly ushers, were now upon me, grabbing my arms, attempting to drag me out of the church. I struggled, still yelling at Sarah, trying to convey the urgency, the danger. The ledger, he's a liar, he's going to ruin you. I was physically removed from the church, my protests fading into the background noise of a scandalized wedding. I was outside, breathing in the fresh air, my lungs burning. The door of the church slammed shut behind me, sealing me out, sealing them in. I stood there, disheveled, humiliated, not knowing if I had saved her, or just completely destroyed whatever fragile remnants of a relationship we had. My phone buzzed again. The unknown number. You did what you could. Now, it's up to her. The next few hours were a blur. I went home, shaken, defeated. Liam called, furious and confused. What the hell was that, David? You just ruined Sarah's wedding. I tried to explain, about the texts, the ledger, the feeling of urgency. He listened, skepticism warring with concern in his voice. You have to prove this, man. For your own sanity. I went straight to the library. It was closed, but I had keys, being the head archivist. My hands trembled as I unlocked the doors, the silence of the empty building echoing my own turmoil. I went directly to Section B, Shelf 3. There it was, an old, leather-bound ledger, its pages yellowed with age. Property deeds, transactions, legal documents from decades ago. I flipped through it, searching. And then I found it. A series of entries from about 5 years ago, detailing a complex land acquisition. A piece of prime real estate, a beautiful lakeside property Sarah had always dreamed of building a home on. It was acquired by a shell corporation, then quickly flipped for an enormous profit. The names involved were hidden behind layers of legal jargon, but one name stood out, a signature at the bottom of a critical transfer document, Mark Peterson. And next to it, a much older name, a man who had owned the land for generations, but who had apparently sold it for a fraction of its worth under questionable circumstances, a man who died suddenly, a few months after the sale, leaving his family destitute. His name was Arthur Finch, an old local legend, known for his stubborn refusal to sell his land. The pieces clicked. Mark hadn't just acquired the land. He had swindled it, likely using intimidation or legal tactics, from an elderly man, then quickly flipped it, making a fortune. He had built his real estate empire on morally dubious, possibly illegal, foundations. And this particular piece of land, it was the exact spot where he and Sarah had been planning to build their dream home. The very dream home Sarah had always talked about building with me. Mark wasn't just a successful developer. He was a ruthless opportunist, a schemer. And Sarah was about to marry him, unknowingly tying herself to a man with such a dark past, a man who had built his fortune on the ruins of others' lives. The aftermath and the answers. The next day was agonizing. No news, no calls from Sarah. I assumed I had simply destroyed everything for nothing, that she had gone through with the wedding, that I was now the crazy ex. Then, late in the afternoon, my phone rang. It was Sarah. Her voice was strained, quiet. Daniel, she said, I need to see you. I went to her house. Her parents were there, looking grim. Mark was nowhere to be seen. Sarah's eyes were red-rimmed, but there was a fierce determination in them. She held the old ledger in her hands. You were right, she said, her voice barely a whisper. I went to the library. I found it, all of it. She had gone to the archives herself, after the initial shock and humiliation. The words I'd screamed in the church, however chaotic, had planted a seed of doubt. She looked into it, and she found the truth. The wedding had been called off. Not immediately, not publicly, but after the commotion, after my outburst, and after her own lingering doubts, she had demanded to know what I was talking about. Mark, cornered, had tried to deny it, to dismiss me as a jealous ex. But the specific details about the ledger, about Arthur Finch, had rattled him. And Sarah, being Sarah, had gone to verify it herself. Mark's dark past, his shady dealings, were exposed. Not just the Arthur Finch case, but others too, hinted at in the ledger, confirmed by further digging by Sarah's father, Robert, who was a retired accountant and had a keen eye for financial irregularities. Sarah's parents were horrified. Mark was furious, but his carefully constructed facade had crumbled. The engagement was broken, and the anonymous text message. It turned out to be from Arthur Finch's granddaughter, Emily, 25. She had been quietly trying to expose Mark for years, ever since her grandfather's death, but lacked the definitive proof. She had been observing Mark, watching his ascent, and had seen me at the wedding. She recognized me from my work at the library, remembering me from previous visits. It was a desperate, last-ditch effort to stop the wedding, an anonymous plea to the only person she thought might listen. She sent me a long, heartfelt email explaining everything after the wedding was called off, thanking me for my crazy stunt. It's been a year since that chaotic day. Sarah didn't marry Mark. Mark's real estate empire is under investigation, crumbling under the weight of his revealed past. Arthur Finch's family is finally getting justice, though belated. Sarah and I were not back together. Not yet. The trust was broken, not by her, but by the circumstances, by the years of hidden truth. But we're talking. We're rebuilding a friendship, slowly, carefully. She's grateful, of course, for my desperate, chaotic act that saved her from a terrible mistake. She apologized for not seeing it sooner, for her naivete. I apologized for crashing her wedding. We both laughed about that. The path forward is uncertain. But there's a quiet understanding between us now, a shared history of chaos and truth. The memory of her walking down the aisle, of the message on my phone, of my desperate plea in the church, it will always be with me. I attended my ex's wedding, then got a message, don't let her say I do. And I listened, and in doing so, I not only saved her, but perhaps, in a strange, unexpected way, saved myself too. The librarian, after all, found the truth hidden in the archives. Make sure that you like, share and subscribe to keep us motivated.